So we're gonna react to another. Like I said before, I promise you, my channel is not gonna be just only reactions, but we're gonna react to another Gamerguyd video because this video is important. It's apparently about how Sega needs to like stop doing what they usually do when it comes to making modern Sonic games. So yeah, guys. And also, this also thank. If you guys notice, I've did so many Sonic movie videos to the point where I just need to take a break. I need to take a break from the Sonic movie and do a video about Sonic Frontiers. Because if you guys notice that I've only for the past couple of videos, the past few days or weeks, I've only made Sonic movie videos. I have not talked about Sonic Prime, Sonic Origins, and Sonic Frontiers. So this video is basically me taking a break. So yeah, from the movie. Yeah, freak. I mean, I'm happy for the movie. In fact, the movie is like my most anticipated Sonic 2022 project, but I feel like I focused on that too much. So yeah.
If today brings a picky eater, ow, get veggies delivered free the same day with Walmart Plus. Show me the Carfax Valley.
Before we start this video, I'm gonna go do some things real quick. So I'll be right back. Alright, I have the chair. Now I'm gonna do something else. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Hold on, let me see if my camera stopped. It's still recording. Alright. Alright, so
Domino's is tipping you $3 to use on
sorry about that. I took like forever. I just had to
delivery driver.
yeah. So now that I know I'm gonna be here for like an hour, I'm just wait, what is this commercial? 2016. Oh great, that IGN video. Hold on.
I think we're at the point where we need to admit that this was never really a great franchise, and that we keep trying to find this thing that was never really actually there.
Sonic was never good.
Yeah, it was like.
Hold this L, IGN. Hold this fucking L. Sorry for cursing, but I just yeah.
You're live.
Yes.
2 is the Sonic franchise. Let's be honest here. Sega is the abusive stepfather who can't stop punching his kids. The latest Sonic games are light years away from being fun. They are a deliberate, methodical test of our patience.
I've loved the 2D Sonic games since they first came out back in the Genesis days, and I've liked the handheld, Sonics, the 2D kind of esque ones, but they just can't get this 3D stuff right.
Would you say wait for Mario Kart just to come out?
Well, listen, man, there's a lot of fans of Sonic out there, okay? And so these people, I don't know, they keep buying the games, they keep picking them up all the time.
They're crazy. And for fuck's sake, can we just talk?
Wait, is that Premi?
Get this off my chest, okay? We have gotten 3 movies. No Frontiers gameplay.
I mean, to be fair though, the second movie is not even out yet, and they just announced the third film, like 2 months before the second film is even out. So yeah, the second movie is not even out yet. So who knows what could happen with the Sonic movie franchise? Heck, what happens if the Sonic movie sequel is not well received, and lots of stuff happens, like the movie gets bad reviews or the movie bombs at the box office? What happens if a lot of that happens? Who knows? If we might not even, and probably what's gonna happen if the second film gets bad reception is that the third movie might even get canceled. But we all know that's not gonna happen. So yeah.
Its Forces came out. We got movie 1. We're going to get movie 2. They don't announce movie 3. They announced movie 4.
And a Knuckles spinoff in the same Sonic movie live action universe.
3. They got a Knuckles spin-off actively in development, and we don't know what the fuck Sonic Frontiers plays like. This is all since Forces, okay? This is all since Forces.
You don't need to hear about how Sonic Generations and Sonic Colors are actually pretty good. These are delusions. Sonic can die.
To so many people, this is a series that never managed to make the leap to 3D, and it's something that should have been put out of its misery a long time ago.
I guess the one thing I'm fearful of is that if they're just as much brain dead as they were making this game, it could lead to another Sonic Boom or Sonic 06, Shadow the Hedgehog. And can Sonic really survive another thing like that?
Sonic the Hedgehog, the now 31-year-old video game series, has had some of the most glaring changes throughout the entire course of its mainline 3D titles. The last thing in the world that the internet needs now is yet another video of someone looking at every possible clue, trying to piece together why. And yet, here we are. Starting with the big question, why has there been so much inconsistency? Well, to be honest, why wouldn't there be? With a franchise centered around a blue, laid-back, hyperactive, cocky, compassionate cartoon animal that can run after speed, there's plenty of room for all sorts of different approaches to this character in terms of gameplay. As a concept, Sonic the Hedgehog is legendary and bursting to the brim with all sorts of different ideas. So maybe it goes without saying that Sonic Team would try and experiment with different playstyles. Some of them work, some of them don't. But no matter what you expect of each one, Sonic's core design for the 3D titles has almost never been consistent. Every single game is different in one way or another, and a lot of people aren't sure why. These
Azuka These are words coming out of Azuka's mouth. This is not just a sequel. It's a brand new experience. Yeah, we end up with games like Forces. Yeah.
Changes have often resulted in gaming journalists, critics, and even some of the older fans voicing their concerns, claiming that if Sonic Team can't provide a 3D gameplay style that stays true to the essence of their most iconic IP and stick with it, then maybe he should be passed down to another development team. Heck, some of those critics are so inexperienced with the franchise that they think putting an end to Sonic would benefit the gaming industry. That alone is proof that Sonic's legacy really has been erased from the public eye. It's really upsetting to see people view him as a joke. Seeing any beloved IP fall from grace or even die off is always a tragedy. But where characters like Conquer or Blinks have become one or two hit wonders, Sonic the Hedgehog miraculously has stuck around. But going back to the critics, we can actually understand where these people are coming from. When we ignore the festering paragraphs filled with rude expletives and immature slander and take a look at real criticisms made on a game, we'll actually see genuine arguments being pointed out and suggestions on how to improve the game. While criticisms can be fun and quite often hilarious to write, they aren't meant to be a string of insults thrown at a team of real people who simply fail to execute their idea. They're usually meant to be informative, reliable sources of information for when people want to improve on their work. Depending on whether or not a development team takes criticism to heart, it's still their responsibility to get better, to utilize their talent and effort and provide a fun form of entertainment in this medium. Now, I'm not saying the staff at Sonic Team haven't tried to do this. They have. They care about this icon as much as we do, but it's not nearly as easy for them to take criticism from this community. And I think that's because of all the different versions of 3D Sonic out there. Because Sonic Team has changed their 3D game design so much, we are all so divided, so opinionated on which titles resonate with us, and so vocal about our opinions for an ideal platform game that Sonic Team most likely finds it difficult to listen to one person at a time. And with all the extra complications, they're realistically incapable of pleasing every single person at once with a single game. And yet they've tried to do so anyway, often resulting in subpar reception. But hey, at least that's proof that they care about us. Due to all this change and the resulting division of the fan base, Sonic teams effectively backed themselves into a corner. But after all this time, I realized that they've also done something else. They've gone through a pattern with their mainline 3D games. Round-the-clock cycle that's run its course twice now. We're currently awaiting the final step of the cycle for the second time, waiting to see what the next 3D gameplay formula will be. And when we take everything into context, we might actually end up with a familiar but refined gameplay style in our hands in Sonic Frontiers. If the second cycle is really going to run its final course, and if Sonic Team doesn't take the wrong lessons from the two most recent games in the lineup. I'm not just making this video to inform you all about this cycle. I want Sonic Team to know too.
Exactly, because we've already known. We've known this for years now. So yeah.
Into the public eye by showing new generations exactly what this character is capable of. And if Sonic Team is going to pull that off, I think it's imperative that they're informed or reminded of this cycle and why it needs to be broken. Sonic the Hedgehog is one of the last remaining 3D platformers in the gaming industry, and there's a reason why it's still here. People genuinely want to see this character treated well by his developers. So I hope this video can give Sega and Sonic Team a new perspective and some structured advice on where to go from here. This team shouldn't have to scrounge under desperation. They should be able to pave the way among their peers in this medium. Sonic the Hedgehog shouldn't have to survive. He should be allowed to live. And I hope this information can get him and his crew in that sort of position. Now, there are two things I need to clarify right up front.
Especially since he's the rival of Mario, so yeah. Of course he needs to. Of course he needs to live.
No spin-offs or 2D games unless they play a factor in the cycle. I also don't plan on projecting too much of my own opinions on these games for the most part. My experiences with this series have little to no effect on how these titles were made. And the reason each one turned out the way it did all depends on the time and context of each individual release. Besides, I can always save my opinions and connections with the series for another video. Anyway, let's get started. This cycle can be summed up in 5 steps. First, Sonic Team introduces a 3D gameplay formula for a few titles, It becomes moderately successful within the community to a point where it even piques the curiosity of those who have never played a Sonic game before, effectively creating new fans. Then, due to certain conditions and some uncertainty from Sonic Team or Sega, the proven
I know it's an hour.
worked for a single game in a bizarre attempt to appeal to people outside the community. This approach often leads to mixed reception. Then Sonic Team
Exactly, like imagine making a franchise and you banning it for the sake of mainstream popularity. Like no, like you stick to what you like you stick to the rules of your franchise. Don't change stuff. Don't take away what makes the franchise so beloved and what it is for the sake of pleasing people who if anything criticize your franchise. Why alienate your fans for the sake of pleasing the people who don't really care about your characters like that? So if it were up to me, I would have just continued making the Sonic games the way the Dark Age games were. Doesn't matter what those critics or mainstream people say. I mean, to be fair though, our franchise would have been dead by now. But still, I would have at least kept the darker tone in the characters. I wouldn't have brought in I wouldn't have not brought in those freaking Wisp. No Wisp, no Classic Sonic. I mean, Classic Sonic does work for generations, but not for Forces. Yeah, no Deadly Six, no Avatar or blocky levels, no trash level designs, or no short gameplay, no bad gameplay, none of that. Basically everything we had in the meta era, completely gone. Completely gone. No butchering the characters that we've all known. So yeah, basically everything from the meta era, everything that we got from the meta era, if you're up to me, everything from the meta era, gone. Just throw it away. Once Sonic Frontiers comes out, just throw it away. Throw it away. Get rid of it.
tries to bring back the proven formula with their next game, but because of development problems, the project is met with generally poor reception from critics in the community. So instead of trying to get with the proven formula afterwards, Sonic Team takes the gameplay formula of a well-received spin-off game that released between their most recent mainline 3D titles and converts that gameplay style to 3D, which results in that new gameplay style becoming the next proven formula, and thus the cycle is complete. Now let's take a look at where this all began.
When you're on a mission to find your baby's favorite foods? Nope.
The year 1998 saw the Japanese release of Sega's grand finale in console construction, the Dreamcast. Right alongside it came the first ever physics-based 3D platformer and one of the most ambitious video games of all time,
Sonic Adventure.
Being the first true follow-up to the definitive reason to own a Genesis, it goes without saying that Sonic's first 3D adventure would hold the foundation of its predecessor.
Oof, my favorite Sonic game right here.
Brought to 3D space, with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles all playable in their own stories, traversing through level design that encourages the use of their abilities.
I'm not gonna lie, one thing they need to bring back, I'm not saying it's gonna be in Frontiers, but let's just say a future game after Frontiers, like Sonic Adventure 3. Let's just say if they make another game at the front, I mean, of course they're gonna make another game. Let's just say if Sonic Frontiers is successful and it's actually good, and they continue on making success. They need to bring back the multiple. Everyone says this by now, but they need to bring back the multiple playable characters. So yeah.
With momentum-based controls and an engaging story to boot. Simple enough to understand, right? Well, that wasn't all this game had to offer. To showcase the capabilities of the new gaming technology at the time and the power of the Dreamcast, Sonic Team added another 3 characters to the roster. A hot pursuit platformer in the form of Amy Rose, a fishing minigame in the form of everybody's favorite meme fodder, Big the Cat,
Meme.
and a shooting gameplay mechanic in the form of E102 Gamma. a badnik with a side story that would go down in history as a fan favorite. Now, looking back, I can think of two major downsides with Sonic Adventure on its own. Number one, since this was the first ever speed platformer in gaming history, the technology of 1998 hadn't fully caught up to the concept. This resulted in a game engine that would not only look more dated with each passing year, as most games would, but one that could also be buggy and unpredictable at times. So the game had to be held together with a lot of duct tape in the form of quick automated segments with some extra spectacle thrown in. Now, since this was the first ever 3D Sonic game I ever played, I can still have fun with it, but only because I know how to avoid the occasional defects, and that's not a valid excuse. Learning how to not break a game shouldn't be the player's responsibility. Secondly, you had to beat all 6 character stories to unlock the finale, even though it's only the first half that goes through the main story. Because of this, Sonic Adventure can come across as a bit of a mess. It's unfocused, and in trying to do so much, it ends up being less than the sum of its parts. Personally, I think a better approach would be to make it so you only had to play through Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles in order to unlock the finale, and in doing so, you would also unlock the other 3 characters. Making the second half of this game optional and not mandatory would be a much better decision. There's a good reason people say Sonic Adventure is the closest Sonic team got to making 3D Sonic work. Its controls and level design for the main trio allows you to try multiple different approaches in order to reach the goal, and that's exactly what the Genesis games did in the last generation. You could choose a variety of different options, like memorizing a level layout in order to find the quickest way through, exploring the levels for secrets and power-ups, or cautiously navigating through a stage so as to not lose your rings. And no matter which approach you took, you would always get better at the game, and in so doing, be rewarded for your skill mastery. And that's what made the original Sonic games on the Genesis so great. They're not necessarily about going fast. They're about skill mastery and encouraging replayability. Going fast was just one of many rewards you could get for improving yourself. And because Sonic Adventure does the same thing in its game design, it resonates with a lot of this series' veterans, even if the game occasionally breaks. Sonic Adventure accomplished its goal by taking the 2D formula, converting it to 3D, and adding onto it with another trio of characters in order to showcase everything that Dreamcast had to offer. And so it had to be the most ambitious game Sega ever made. This was the first proven formula, the 2D to 3D formula, with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles.
Yeah, I agree. Sonic Adventure was the most ambitious game Sega ever made. Everyone says Generations or Unleashed or probably even 06, but I don't even. But I think both Adventure 1 and Adventure 2 are the most ambitious games Sega has ever made. Both Adventure games. Although I'm one of those people who think Adventure 1 is better than Adventure 2. So yeah, I guess a lot of people are gonna agree with me. It's not an unpopular opinion. So yeah.
All separately playable.
Here comes Adventure 2.
Now, due to the underwhelming performance of the Dreamcast and the PlayStation 2's overshadow pouring salt on the wound, Sega and Sonic Team promised to make Sonic the Hedgehog's 10th anniversary one to remember, before changing into a third-party company. So to celebrate everything this icon had accomplished, the fastest thing alive appeared on Sega hardware for the last time in 2001, in the form of Sonic Adventure 2. Now, the Dreamcast release was actually way more divisive than people think. This was one of the biggest love or hate video games in the Sega community, but in 2002, when the GameCube port released in the form of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, it took the Nintendo community by storm. Not only was this port the 8th highest selling video game on the GameCube, making several new fans in the process, but it divided the Sonic gaming community into 2 parts: the 90s veterans who grew up remembering Sega's console-making career, and the rookies of the early 2000s who grew up playing Sonic's multi-platform games. The success of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle was proof that Sonic Team and Sega didn't and don't need to change their gameplay formula to appeal to newcomers. But what newcomers didn't know was just how much the game design had changed from Adventure 1 to 2. Where Sonic Adventure 1 encouraged replayability with multiple approaches to the stages, Sonic Adventure 2 encourages replayability with a single approach: going fast. The game rewarded you based on how fast and how skillfully you make your way through each level. So much so that it even ranked you for it, being the first Sonic game to have a ranking system. In Sonic Adventure 2, the gameplay and level design was streamlined, differentiating itself from Adventure 1 and the Genesis games. But despite being different from what came before, it still maintained the core of a Sonic game, encouraging replayability resulting in skill mastery. This was not the 2D to 3D formula, this was the other formula, the spectacle platformer. Now realistically, this kind of gameplay formula won't age quite as well as the 2D to 3D formula, particularly after the spectacle is no longer technologically impressive. It's the main reason people are still divided between these two different formulas. After the visual shine wears off on the 2D to 3D formula, it still has the gameplay to fall back on, including the variety of different level approaches. Since the spectacle platformer's only real approach is to blaze through each level, it becomes a little more tedious. You could still try other approaches, but it normally doesn't add up to much because of the linear level design. Now, I'm not saying this formula can't work in 3D Sonic games, though. Again, it's one of the proven formulas. It just requires more expansive level design with different pathways to take, while still maintaining...
I'll be right back.
Hold
on. I need to get something.
Sonic's last level, Final Rush, is one of the better ones. If I were to bring in my personal opinion, I do think Adventure 2's version of the spectacle platformer is an overall step backward from the way Adventure 1 handled the 2D to 3D approach. But ultimately, both of these formulas can still be furthered in their design, and I think they should for future 3D games. But the speed stages are only 1/3 of Adventure 2's game. The other two are the shooting mechanics, Tails, and the treasure hunting stages for Knuckles and Rouge, both of which originated from the previous game.
Alright.
And unfortunately, like the speed stages, the new incarnations of these established gameplay styles are significantly inferior to how they were designed in Adventure 1, despite the more stable hardware. I mean, it's one thing to stick a two-tailed flying fox into a grounded mech just to be an Egg Walker clone, but when the ground control of that machine feels heavier to control than Gamma, it makes the gameplay experience more problematic. And I'm sorry, but there's no valid excuse at all for nerfing the treasure hunting radar to one item at a time. And no, making the stages last longer doesn't count. Even if the character control is better, you'll mostly find yourself flying around aimlessly waiting for the radar to go off. Or at least I did. Going back to the Dreamcast release, these changes to the first 3D formula and its other playstyles are genuinely the reason why the veteran Sonic fans were so divided, particularly over how the main trio played. Sonic's levels only had one approach that
those were one of the main reasons why I prefer Adventure 1 over Adventure 2.
Most likely because Sonic Team
So yeah.
on putting him in the game as a playable character, and Knuckles had an increase in difficulty for the wrong reason. But like I said, this game was proof that Sonic Team didn't need to change the core design to make new fans. For the next generation, Sonic Adventure 2 might as well not even have had a 2 in the title. They had no frame of reference for what Tails was supposed to be, how different the game was, the things that had been lost, or what had been gained. For them, Sonic Adventure 2 came first, and people have a lot of affection for things that they see as coming first. And when you really think about it, both of these playstyles can still be refined and improved when more gaming tech is introduced in the future. When Sonic Adventure 1 introduced the 2D to 3D formula, Sonic Adventure 2 introduced the spectacle platformer, and now there are two styles of gameplay to be utilized at Sonic Team's fingertips for all future Sonic games. Or so we thought.
Sonic Heroes.
Get cheesy at Red Robin with our new cheesy bacon fondue. Summit.
Cut to the year 2003. After the release of Sonic Adventure 2, Sega became a third-party company. No longer a console-making crew, they now had to take their IPs and release their games on consoles made by the three current competing first-party brands, Microsoft, Sony, and even their former rivals Nintendo. And honestly, becoming a third-party company could mean a one-way ticket to a gold mine for Sega, particularly with Sonic. By releasing ports of previous games, collections of the originals, and just as importantly, new 3D Sonic games to the eyes of every other console gamer outside the current fanbase, they could end up with yet another flood of new fans, ready to see more from the famous Blue Blur and his creators. Everything seemed to be in place, especially when you take the two previous 3D formulas into consideration. Sonic Team had every opportunity in front of them to expand upon one of their two playstyles, ironing out the kinks with the new gaming technology and perfecting the formulas. And considering how popular Sonic Adventure 2's GameCube port was, you'd think it would go without saying, but that's not what happened. The Despite the glowing reputation they built up with their first two 3D games, their new formula is being monumentally successful, and everything in context that was practically gift-wrapped in their favor. Sonic Team was undergoing a phase of uncertainty. They didn't seem confident that any of their gameplay styles would appeal to anyone outside the fanbase. Granted, they might have assumed this before the GameCube port of Adventure 2 blew up, but even then, there was no need to ditch what they had established, but they did anyway. Whether you like Sonic Heroes or not, the decisions that Sonic Team made with this game were considered a major step backwards at the time of its release, especially considering what came before. And it's not specifically because it's different from the style of play provided in Adventure 1 or 2. It's because of a business practice in gaming that should never be repeated.
Alright, first game we're going to talk about is Sonic Heroes, developed by Sonic Team for Sega.
I'm a huge Sonic fan.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I'm old school Sonic man on the Genesis, but, you know, they're just letting this license go downhill.
I know, huh? Ever since they moved to 3D, they've had all kinds of problems with clipping polygons and cameras trying to keep up and things moving too fast. You can't get...
Making needless changes to a gameplay formula to try and appeal to people outside your established audience is one of the easiest ways to lose the interest of the people you already have, and in doing so, perform worse in sales. Most of the time...
Wait. Go back. I want to read that.
What is that?
Fun fact. The guy on the right, Tommy, was one of the composers of Sonic and the Black Knight. That's what they think about 3D Sonic. That's what they think about 3D Sonic. But yet they composed for a 3D Sonic game. His opinion. I don't judge. Oh, sorry.
Making needless changes to a gameplay formula to try and appeal to people outside your established audience is one of the easiest ways to lose the interest of the people you already have, and in doing so, perform worse in sales. Most of the time, people outside of the fanbase are just going to ignore those games out of personal taste, and the people who are fans of the franchise are going to be alienated, mainly due to the unnecessary changes. You'll only gain a decent profit from games like these out of pure luck. The best thing you can do is stick to the gameplay formula you have that turns up a sufficient profit and expand upon it. Thus, the old fans will keep coming back for more, and if you're lucky, more people will grow curious and decide to give this new game a shot, not only resulting in more sales, but also the potential creation of new fans. That's all it really takes to make an existing game franchise succeed. Consistency, topped off with new ideas thrown into each new release without completely changing the way the game plays. This is the mistake that Sonic Team made with the creation of Sonic Heroes, and the gameplay is very different from its predecessors, to a point where it doesn't even really feel like a Sonic game, or at least not a traditional one. Instead of a physics-based game that rewards skill mastery and exploration with speed and power-ups, or a streamlined spectacle platformer that rewards you based on how skillful you made it to the goal, Sonic Heroes feels more like a standard combat platformer with the ground speed turned up to 50 and team-based mechanics. Physics are non-existent, tutorials are littered all over the place, the characters never stop telling you what you're supposed to do, the same bandits appear zone after zone with hit points, and amidst all these bizarre changes, Sonic Team incorporated traditional level aesthetics of Sonic the Hedgehog, which would thematically make sense, but considering the more realistic approach that Adventure 1 and 2 took in their environments, this just makes for another inconsistency. In several interviews, Sonic Team claimed that their reason for making these changes, including the level environments, was to bring the series back to its roots. But given how drastically different Sonic Heroes is to the Genesis era, this doesn't add up. I think if they really wanted to take the series back to its roots, they would have refined the momentum-based physics from Adventure 1, expand the level design to encourage exploration and skill mastery, and make it much less combat-based, keeping all of 8-Man's robots reduced to 1 to 2 punch punks, basically like the 2D to 3D formula. Therefore, the level themes, music, and overall presentation would make a lot more sense. But again, that's not what Sonic Team did. These back-to-the-roots claims felt much more like an excuse than a justifiable reason for changing so much in Sonic's 3D game design, despite its critical acclaim. It felt like the people at Sonic Team were suddenly ashamed of the identity they established with their icon, and they really didn't.
Exactly, they alienated what made the franchise what it is in the first place for the sake of mainstream appeal.
Heroes ditched them outright and went back to the drawing board to grab the attention.
For the sake of mainstream
Even though
appeal.
There was no need to be afraid of their identity.
Exactly.
The worst was yet to come.
Shadow the Hedgehog, or Sonic 06. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I actually like 06, but I understand where the hate comes from. I understand where all the criticism comes in.
That remarkable from the start, even though he was. Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 was the start of a chain reaction that caused the legacy of a beloved icon to be erased from the timeline. But never let it be said that this game didn't have very good intentions. Given what we've seen from the game's basic outline, Sonic 06, as it's commonly named, looked like it was planning to bring back the adventure formula. But instead of being one version or the other, it planned on combining the two in a seamless mix of expanded level design and breathtaking gameplay that encourages exploration and rewards your skill and replayability with other playable characters to boot. Complete with an overworld like in Sonic Adventure 1 meant that Sonic Team were going back to their roots. The bonus? It would reach a level of speed that can only be achieved with the new hardware. Just like Adventure 1, it planned to define Sonic the Hedgehog for a new generation in the form of an ambitious video game that showed off all of the technological advances of the new game consoles, the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Nintendo Wii. On top of that, its aesthetical approach would go back to that of Adventure 1, putting Sonic in a world that resembled something close to real life, which a lot of people were pretty fond of. And the drive to push for realistic visuals in video games was all the rage at the time, so it only figured. It seemed like Sonic Team had learned their lesson from the Sonic Heroes fiasco. They were ready to try again with their proven formula, embracing their brand's identity. And up to this point, Sega was as confident and ambitious as ever, ready to take the world by storm once again.
Dang.
As one of the most unforgettable third-party companies of the generation.
Oh.
So,
If
why
only.
did this game define Sonic the Hedgehog for a new generation in all the wrong ways? Because of development hell. Not the traditional kind that involves
If only if they had just delayed the freaking game and polished it more, maybe it wouldn't have got negative reviews.
Development hell. And Sega was the one at fault. Their overconfidence was their weakness. Despite their good intentions, they became reckless. They flew too close to the sun, their wings fell apart, and they were sent plummeting to rock bottom. And their leading mascot, the
I get it that they were
this company's identity,
confident for this game. They were ambitious,
honestly,
like pretty much a lot of the games in the franchise. But this specific game, they should have delayed it because this was the game that made a lot of people stop playing Sonic in general. In general, to the point where they had to take away the identity of the franchise thanks to freaking colors. If it weren't for that, if they have just delayed the game, we wouldn't have got colors. We wouldn't have got the meta era. Instead, we would have continued got what we got. But nope, thanks to Sega. Yeah, look at this. Look at those reviews. None of that would have happened if Sega would have just delayed the game.
The same way the new generations of gamers took the wrong things away from this game's popularity on YouTube, Sega and Sonic Team took the wrong lessons from how to avoid repeating its infamy. What do I mean by that? Well, ask yourself these questions. When's the last time we got a fully 3D mainline Sonic game? 2006. When's the last time we got a mainline 3D Sonic game with the playable Tails and Knuckles? 2006.
Check.
And when's the last time we got a 3D Sonic game with momentum-based physics?
2006.
2001.
Oh.
Sonic Team was so worried about making the game as laughably bad as 06 that they haven't made any attempt at all to refine the 2D to 3D formula or the spectacle platformer. The negative impact of this game convinced Sonic Team that these playstyles should never be tried again, or they just don't think we want them anymore.
That's their fault. They're the ones that rushed the game out, and now they have a damn nerve to cut away all the to take away the franchise identity for the sake of repeating a mistake, appealing to mainstream mainstream appeal. That was one of the biggest mistakes ever in the first place. In the fact that you tried to take away the franchise identity for the sake of repeating the same mistake shows that, which really tells me that Sega, what are you doing?
Intentionally or not, the people on YouTube who joked about Sonic 06 ended up creating a false belief that Sonic never had a successful 3D title and didn't provide anything new or revolutionary to the gaming industry, despite being the icon that literally introduced physics to the medium. The worst part is, Sega has been making the same mistake of rushing developers again and again. From Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric to Sonic Colors Ultimate, over a decade later, they still have not learned their lesson. This is part of why people still bring up Sonic 06. I'm not saying the gaming community needs to stop talking about it, but I do think we need to stop using it as a reference. People need to stop pointing at this game and saying this is all Sonic has ever been, and you should hate him. I know none of that is true at all because I experienced
None of that is true, but at the same time, I mean, yes, I agree that a lot of people need to stop saying that Sonic has never had a good game, because that's not true. You would not even know who he is if he never had a good game. But at the same time, it's Sega's fault for rushing this game out. Oh, don't even get me started with Forces.
potential in a game that's unstable but ambitious over a game that looks polished but plays it safe to the point of apathy and laziness.
Don't even get me started with Forces. I'll go as far to say is Forces is worse than 06, but better than Boom. Rise of Lyric though.
They need to acknowledge where they succeeded, where they messed up, and learn from the past to better themselves. We want to see these gameplay formulas again. Physics and
Hold on, I'm gonna read those.
to acknowledge where they succeeded, where they messed up.
Requirements. Genesis physics / game design converted to 3D engine, with the core trio playable in their own segments. That I agree with. Because Tails and Knuckles do need to be playable again. That's what everyone says. Well, at least everyone in the Sonic community. Okay. I still have it. The spectacle platformer. Requirements. Streamlined level design. Normally with a built-in physics engine that ranks your performance in a single stage. Tails and Knuckles can potentially still have this play style.
We want to see these gameplay formulas again, physics and all. Look at how many people keep asking for Sonic Adventure 3.
Exactly. And I know they have to do a Sonic Adventure 3 soon. Whether it's a last resort, to where it's our last chance before everyone just stops playing Sonic in general, or since Sonic Frontiers was a success, everyone loves Sonic again. Why not give them Sonic Adventure 3? That I know might happen. After Sonic Frontiers comes out, I think we're gonna get a Sonic Adventure 3. I don't think we're gonna get Sonic Adventure remakes, but I do think we're gonna get a Sonic Adventure 3. So yeah.
For different playable characters, or the Chow Garden, or a well-written story with a grand scale. I said before that the best course of action.
Thank God Ian Flint is writing for Frontiers.
Remake all the 3D Sonic Adventure games, each title utilizing a single refined control scheme and physics engine, but still maintaining the different mechanics and gimmicks from each individual release. A lot of gamers are mocking those titles for being dated or because they haven't aged well. But if they got properly remade, there wouldn't be anything to complain about. Sega almost went through with this too, but unfortunately the adventure remakes were shelved, as was confirmed through leaks last year.
They got taken away for frickin' Rise of Lyric. You took away the remakes of the best, of my opinion, the best 3D games in this entire franchise. Only you took all that out. You took hold on, let me repeat that. You took away remakes of the two best 3D games in this entire franchise, only to make the worst game in this entire franchise. You took away Adventure for Rise of Lyric. Just let that sink let that sink through your head real quick. They took away Sonic Adventure for Rise of Lyric. They took away a masterpiece for a complete, utter dumpster fire that's worse than 06. And like I said, Sonic 06 is not that bad. I actually like the game. If I'm gonna be quite honest, I actually like Sonic 06, but I don't love 06. I do not love 06, but I like respect it and I like it. So yeah, I believe if the game was much more polished, then I would have loved it. Then all this mess when that happened.
Next year. Anyway, Sonic 06 was the bomb that destroyed Sonic's reputation, an obstacle in the road of progression. There's a way around it, but Sonic Team didn't try to find it. Instead, they took a different road. Rather than try again with a working 3D formula, Sonic Team decided the best option was to create a new formula for future games. So they turned to the well-received spin-off games that released between Heroes and 06 for inspiration. And this is where Sonic Rush comes in, a Nintendo DS game created by Dimps, the team responsible for the Sonic Advance trilogy. Even today, Sonic Rush is often said to be the best Sonic game made by Dimps, taking the form of a 2D spectacle platformer, and it worked. It also happened to have a certain gameplay element that Sonic Team would eventually convert to 3D space. Now, a new formula was on the way.
The friggin' boost formula. Oh my gosh. Sonic Unleashed was awesome. Sonic Unleashed was awesome though.
In 2008, Sonic the Hedgehog made the ultimate comeback in Sonic Unleashed, often referred to as Sonic World Adventure to the Japanese fans.
World Adventure is a better title. Because get it. Hold on. Get this though. World Adventure. World Adventure and Sonic Unleashed was originally supposed to be called Sonic Adventure 3. Sonic World Adventure. I'm just saying, guys. I'm just saying.
Including a level of speed beyond any game that came before.
The boost formula worked in Unleashed and Generations, but after Forces and Colors, that's where they took it too far. I mean, Colors released before Generations, but Generations is better than
Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations. Instead of using physics to achieve the
a lot of people hate Sonic Colors. I mean, not a lot of people, because I know the mainstream general public loves Colors, but Sonic fans hate Colors for whatever reason. I liked it. I liked Sonic Colors, but Sonic Colors Ultimate, I'm gonna still do my review, but I'm just let you know. I'm just say this though. Sonic Colors Ultimate is where things kind of go from here to
speed. All you had to do was collect rings to fill up a fuel gauge that went down over time. To use the boost, you just held down a single button. From there, everything else was up to you. Your skill mastery depended on how gracefully you made it through each stage. So it was with Adventure 2, so it must be here. Like every Sonic game, the fun came from replayability and sharpening your skill. The boost was completely optional and in your control. Because you can always be faster. You can always get better. If you try, you can do anything. But despite maintaining the spirit of Sonic the Hedgehog's core design, the Boost trilogy still came at a price.
Freaking boost formula. They better not bring after Frontiers is meant to be an open world game. I mean, there's still gonna be some. From what I've heard, there's still gonna be some boost stages in Frontiers. There's still gonna be some boost stages in Frontiers, but like that better not be like the main gameplay of the game. The main gameplay of the game better be similar to Sonic Project Hero and Sonic Utopia. Yeah, Sonic Utopia. Those fan projects. The main gameplay of Sonic Frontiers better be similar to those fan games I just mentioned.
Each title had a different gimmick tagged on with a new formula. In Sonic Unleashed, the boost formula only took up half of the game. The other half utilized a brawler-type combat mechanic in the form of the Werehog's Night stages.
Oh yeah, speaking of Frontiers and combat, I heard Sonic's gonna have some new abilities and new combat style gameplay in Frontiers when he's like fighting enemies. I heard Sonic's gonna use some new combat, so that's actually good. So yeah.
Is best left as a one-time gimmick. I had a little fun with it in some levels, but it was mostly a cumbersome chore, and better left as a one-time thing. In Sonic Colors, the boost formula took up the entire game, but it came with the wisp-colored power-ups. One of them even replaced the rings for your boost gauge, and the rest were limited abilities that sometimes broke the pacing and flow of the game. I could think of at least 2 color powers that actually replaced what could have been part of Sonic's natural moveset, the spin dash and the lightspeed dash. I also think some of the wisps could have been fleshed out better. Like, what if you used a cube wisp and it turned a collection of blue rings into a slope that led to a shortcut instead of just blocky platforming? And Sonic Generations seemed to iron out the kinks in level design and make way for different paths throughout the maps for the boost gameplay. But just like Unleashed, the boost formula was only half of the game. This time, the other half was given to Classic Sonic, a 2.5D equivalent to the Genesis games, which basically meant it was 2D Sonic that took advantage of the 3D space in terms of level design. You know, kind of like a pop-up book. Most people say this was much less of a detriment compared to something like the Werehog, since unlike the Werehog, Classic Sonic plays like a Sonic game. However, I have noticed that the most common arguments with Generations are the following. First, Classic Sonic's speed and rolling physics aren't completely accurate to the Genesis games, although Sonic Team did say it was impossible to replicate that with the Hedgehog engine. So, fans of the Genesis era claimed they weren't fully satisfied with the controls. Second, by this point in time, some of the fans were generally indifferent to 3D Sonic gameplay and would have preferred to just play as Classic Sonic. And the same could be said for fans who were indifferent to 2D Sonic, but because you had to beat the game with both playstyles, both sides couldn't be fully satisfied with the overall experience. But issues like these only apply to the context of the individual games. When you take a closer look at the boost formula itself, you'll find some different negatives. Sonic's control at low speed is incredibly stiff. The acceleration is still smooth, but steering isn't nearly as tight as it was in the adventure games. If you want to make a sharp 90-degree turn without slowing down, you have to use the drift move, and some people just don't prefer that approach. It was like driving a car. I think it would have fared better if the steering was tighter at low speeds and more stiff when he went faster. But since no momentum physics were applied to this gameplay style, and since you always reverted back to a standard speed when you let go of the boost button, I guess that's not what they were going for. Because the boost formula is a faster version of the spectacle platformer, Sonic Team had no choice but to add more automation to the level design. And while I think some areas in 3D Sonic ought to be automated, too much of it can make the game feel too easy. Gamers often prefer to feel like they're actually playing the game instead of holding a button and letting the game play itself for you. The boost formula is where the infamous 2D sections came into play for 3D Sonic, and even if both of these dimensions are balanced out in a single stage, it's still better for a 3D Sonic game to stick with 3D throughout every level. 2D sections often feel like they cut corners with the level design. Maybe they could be used as 2-second long spectacle transitions to the next segment of a 3D stage, but aside from that, they're best left out of a completely 3D game. Sonic Team wanted to distance themselves from the previous formula, and for some reason, that meant removing other playable characters too, including Tails and Knuckles, who were always such a joy to control back then. And mind you, they weren't different from Sonic in terms of ground control. They just had different ways of navigating levels, so it probably wouldn't have been that hard to put them into the gameplay, even for the boost formula. Now I can still have fun with the boost games, but I think they would have been a lot better if they made a refined physics engine with tight steering controls, a playable Tails and Knuckles with the same ground control, a lack of 2D, and the boost mechanic as just a new part of Sonic's moveset. But that's just gameplay. There's one other thing a lot of people took issue with: the story writing. People have criticized how the plot lines of
Ooh, yeah. That is what I want to talk about, how cringy the storyline in Colors. And ever since then, we have the Meta era, which supposedly ends by Sonic Colors Ultimate. Sonic Colors started the Meta era, and Sonic Colors ended the Meta era.
Games, including 06, took themselves too seriously. But that was the part of Sonic's charm in the 3D games.
These freaking critics, man. Sonic is not allowed to be a serious franchise. Sonic is meant to be a joke. That is the exact equivalent. The exact equivalent to saying, oh, DC is not meant to be a serious franchise. It's supposed to be like Marvel. That's why Marvel is better than DC. But yeah, when DC releases a lighthearted movie, DC is copying Marvel. That's why DC sucks. it's basically that type of thing, that type of stuff. Sonic is not meant to be a serious franchise. It's supposed to be like Mario. The whole point of Sonic is to be better than Mario. Of course, he's gonna take himself a lot more serious. But yeah, when there's a lighthearted Sonic game, Sonic is copying Mario. Sonic is copying Mario. You see what I mean? That type of argument.
Especially when the characters were still true to their identities.
Exactly.
No matter how high the stakes are, what you see is what you get.
All because you mainstream. Look what you critics and you mainstream audience did to our franchise. All because y'all can't take us serious. All because y'all can't go at least a minute without jokes. All because all y'all care about is freaking jokes. Like, grow up. Not everything has to be a freaking comedy, okay? Jeez. Not everything has to be a freaking comedy.
And a stoic loner who's a little gullible. Sonic Unleashed proved that the tone could be a little more lighthearted, but still have an engaging story that maintains Sonic's personality. He wasn't as cocky as he normally was there, but given what happened to the planet in that story, it made sense for him to take things a little more seriously. But then the story for Colors came along, and we got two inexperienced writers who apparently think skimming Wikipedia pages and watching a couple of YouTube videos counts as character research. I still can't believe that's what they did. They actually said so in an interview. Warren Graff and Ken Pontac have been writing for the main series for over a decade now, and they've built up a reputation as the most hated writers in the entire history of the series.
There you go.
The higher focus on comedy usually fell flat on his face.
They're freaking comedy.
Not only part of what he should be. He was much more prone.
They butcher the characters.
And now he had a tendency to.
Yeah, you critics happy? You guys are happy, huh? Yeah, you guys are happy? You guys happy? You mainstream gamers, you guys are happy? That are not only the writing is now cringy, but they butcher the characters. They treated us like freaking idiots, all because you mainstream critics cannot go a minute without jokes. Cannot go at least 5 minutes without jokes.
Break the fourth wall for some reason. Instead of jumping right into the action without a second thought, now he felt obligated to crack a few one-liners before taking off. He went from cocky but compassionate to just cocky. Annoyingly cocky. A cool...
Freaking... Pontac. Freaking Pontac. I'm happy those freaking writers are gone. Sega, congratulations. I'm happy those writers are gone. So yeah, we have Ian Flynn writing the story now. So you mainstream critics and you mainstream gamers that trash the Dark Age, if Sonic Frontiers succeeds, I'm gonna do a video where I break Sonic Forces, and in that same video, I'm gonna say this though. Watch what I'm about to say to you mainstream gamers and mainstream critics that caused all of this meta era stuff to happen in the first place. Watch what I'm about to say, y'all. If Sonic Frontiers succeeds and it's good. Watch what I'm about to say.
90s jokester who never shuts up. I bet some would argue that this made him more irritating than Omochao. In the other game, Sonic was a laid-back, rebellious teenager who played by his own rules. He never stopped moving no matter where he was. He was confident and very sure of himself. He loved seeking out a new adventure. He always fought for justice and cared for his friends. And taking all that into account, you can really see how Graff and Pontac's version of Sonic completely misses the point of the character. Oh, and remember how Tails went through a story arc in Adventure 1 that carried over into
exactly. Learning how to be more confident.
Without Sonic's help, despite how much more intimidating a mad scientist was to an 8-year-old kid, people love to see that. It was a nice little power of independence story arc.
But look what we got. Look what we got now. Sonic, help me! All because y'all couldn't go a minute without jokes, right? Right?
Suited the character. Nowadays, Tails is a one-dimensional techno genius, even though he was mostly just a vehicle mechanic.
I'm happy. You know what? I'm gonna say this though, Paramount. If you're watching this, and when the second movie comes out, I'm not gonna boss them around because that's just childish at this point. But please, Paramount, bring Tails back to his roots in the adventure games. Treat him like a much more confident. Yes, have him be a scary cat at first, like basically like what the plot leaks are saying. Have him be a scary cat at first, but have him develop, have him grow to be a much more confident hero.
Who constantly hides behind a rock, if not Sonic himself. And without any cover, he'll just crouch and cover his eyes like a baby. He never really...
Sonic, help me! Look at that. This is the same character. This is the same character that grew from a character that relies on Sonic so much to a competent hero and adventure. This is the same character that says, "I hope I'm not too late." In the movie, this is the same character that that has a girlfriend and boom. Alright, I'm not gonna joke around. But for real though, this is the character that is supposed to be brave by now. Like, imagine if there was no meta era right now and we just continue to have the Dark Age games. Imagine what Tails would be doing right now. Heck, Tails would probably be a father right now. I'm not gonna say that because Tails is 8 years old, but still. Tails would probably have a woman right now. I'm not joking around. I'm actually serious. They probably would have given Tails a girlfriend by now. They would have probably made him a huge intelligent beast that outsmarts Eggman every time. Like, and Knuckles, yeah, Knuckles too. They probably would have made him like brutally. We probably would have a Knuckles spin-off game right now where he learns to control his anger sometimes. So yeah, but no, instead, let's kick butt. Yeah. Bonnie McNose here. Sonic, help me. See, Evelyn, now we're getting to know each other. Look at you. Hold this L, critics. Look what you fuckers did to our franchise. Look what you did to our fucking franchise.
Does anything to help Sonic anymore, and that was such a crucial part of his character. He wouldn't just tag along, he'd fight right alongside his hero, going so far as to...
You see what he just did there in Mania Adventures? Look what he's doing right there.
Then there's Knuckles.
This is what we will have right now. This is what we would have had by now if these freaking critics would just shut up and understand that Sonic, that's what makes the franchise what it is. If these critics would just shut up. Heck, if the Dark Age was still here, I'll even go as far to say as the Werehog from Unleashed probably would have returned. Chip from Unleashed would have been probably one of the main characters. Cause I like Chip. I wish Chip stayed, but nope.
Boxing champion of a treasure hunter who resides on Angel Island as the last of his kind, with the responsibility of guarding the only power source that could suppress the energy of the Chaos Emeralds, the Master Emeralds. Knuckles is very protective of his home and his property, and if he finds an intruder on his island or nearby, he'll investigate immediately to determine if it's friend or foe. He has good intentions, but he has been easily manipulated multiple times, usually by Dr. Robotnik himself. He has a bad habit of jumping to conclusions as well.
Heck, Knuckles would have probably been intelligent by now, but no, they continue to make him. In the meta era, made him even dumber. I mean, Knuckles was already intelligent in the Dark Age, in the Genesis days, but he was not like as smart as Sonic and Tails. He was more of a, knucklehead, but he's smart. But no, in the meta era, they made him an idiot. Heck, Boom just proved my point. Sonic Boom, that just proved my point. So yeah, I'm happy Paramount returned Knuckles to his roots in the Sonic movie sequel. So yeah.
But when he learns the truth, he'll do an immediate 180 and join...
Look, you see how he just does Ray away?
But to be fair, that plot hole started back in Sonic Heroes. That was then, this is now. With Graf and Pontak as the writers, Knuckles has been made as just another sidekick who mostly brags about how much better he is than Sonic, giving him a few weak compliments when he actually beats Robotnik, And then he was a war general in Sonic Forces, and that's about it. He's not given much focus. The characters' voice actors have also changed, but that barely has relevance to how the story is written.
This is what they did to our
Good
characters.
voice direction and a solid script. You'll
Which
still
makes
have
me
some
laugh
where
so
it's
hard.
who's in front of the microphone. What we got in Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations, though, is less than ideal. In Sonic Colors, the idea of Dr. Eggman creating a factory disguised as an amusement park is actually pretty awesome.
The more I look at these
Potential
freaking
was
wisps,
thrown out the window for comedy. One block
the more I look at these freaking wisps, the more upset I get that we've actually went this far to change the franchise identity.
Why they end up replacing the emeralds in the story instead of
They took away, yeah, exactly. They took away the Chaos Emeralds. They've completely sidelined the characters for these freaking wisps that no one gives a crap about, that no one gives a shit about. And on top of that, they made the characters dumber. They changed the tone for the series for the sake of mainstream appeal. Like, do you guys know how stupid you guys are for what y'all did? I'm not gonna say you guys are stupid, but you guys are. I'm not gonna. You guys did some stupid things. Look, you guys, like, you see how stupid y'all made yourselves look? Yeah, now y'all see how stupid. Now you critics see how stupid y'all made yourselves look? Look what you critics did to our franchise. Look what you mainstream gamers who just could not go a minute without jokes. All y'all mainstream gamers who could not go at least 5 minutes without jokes. Without jokes. That's how storytelling works. This is not even just for Sonic. This is how basic storytelling works. You can't go, like, you cannot just have everything be lighthearted, kid family. Oh, let's crack a joke. Hee hee. Let's crack a joke every 5 minutes. So that's how entertainment works. That's not how entertainment works. The problem is you mindless people think that lighthearted comedy jokes. That's one thing I do not like about the MCU. Yeah, that's one thing I do not like about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the meta era for Sonic. They couldn't stop cracking jokes. The characters are kind of annoying. They don't ever shut up once. They don't stop cracking jokes. They don't take things seriously. Like when will you mainstream people learn that that's not how storytelling is supposed to work? Comedy can be used, but only at the right times. When it comes to serious moments, do not dull all the serious potential. Do not dull away all the potential moment for a freaking joke. That's what you mainstream people need to learn. That not everything has to be a comedy. Holy cow. And not everything has to be inspired by Marvel that does stupid things already with their freaking comedy. Not everything has to be lighthearted like Mario. Not every 3D platformer game has to be lighthearted like Mario, okay? Like, let a franchise do their own thing. Jesus Christ.
Granted, the emeralds were still in the game, and you could finally unlock Super Sonic for all of the...
They really banned the Chaos Emeralds for these fucking wisps. They really took away the Chaos Emeralds for these fucking wisps. Oh my
Power
gosh.
has been a staple in the series since 1991. Maybe this is another reason why people are kind of divided on the wisps, especially since they obviously replaced playing as Sonic's friends.
Exactly.
Sonic Generations, all of the stages are
Like I miss playing as Knuckles and Tails and even Amy and Big, Shadow, Rouge. I miss playing all those other characters. But no, instead you have to ban all that for freaking Wisp.
The story of why there were two versions of Sonic in the same game is treated like an afterthought compared to the gameplay. Only the bare...
Okay. I'm not gonna say nothing about Generations. Sonic Generations was a masterpiece. I have nothing to say about Generations. I really have nothing to say about Generations. Like, like for those of you who got some things to say about Generations, then that's fine. But Sonic Generations was a masterpiece, and that's actually kind of a fact, by the way. Just look at the reviews. Everyone loves Generations. So yeah, I just just keep it to a bare minimum, okay? I don't want nobody talking about Generations, okay? Generations, yes, even though Generations is part of the Meta era, but Generations is still good. So yeah.
Minimum is applied. And while there was much less humor in this game, the character portrayal still wasn't accurate, and the plot was mostly just there as an obligatory reason for why both incarnations of Sonic the Hedgehog were exploring recycled environments. While gameplay is obviously the most important part of a video game, Sonic the Hedgehog always tried to go above and beyond with story and production value, or at least more so than certain other IPs.
Oh, friggin' forces.
The era ended after Team Sonic Racing, with the two riders leaving, and
Yeah.
replaced with Ian Flynn.
Hold on, go back.
The Pontaff era ended after Team Sonic Racing, with the two riders leaving.
Yeah, mainstream audience. We're gonna return back to our old days after the Sonic movie. So yeah, hold this L. Say goodbye to your child-friendly writers. Hold this L for me. Hold this L. Yeah, hold this big fat L. Yeah. Goodbye, Pontaff. Goodbye, Ken Pontac and Warren Graff. Goodbye. Nobody likes you. We're not gonna miss you. Peace. Pussies.
And they were replaced with Ian Flynn, the writer of the Archie or IPs. To everyone's relief, the Pontaff era ended after Team Sonic Racing, with the two riders leaving.
Goodbye, Shrek. Goodbye, White Shrek. Goodbye, Caillou shape ass bitch. Goodbye, Mega Man looking ass. Goodbye. Hold this L. Go suck a dick.
And they were replaced with Ian Flynn, the writer
Ooh, this nigga's giant.
Sonic comics. So Sonic.
Hello, Ian Flynn. Yeah, just come on in. Get those trash writers out of here. Ian Flynn, stay with us.
Frontiers has a lot of potential to tell a story and vastly improve on the writing, which the games have always desperately needed. Let's hope Sonic Team and Sega won't restrict Flynn's creativity, though. As for the Boost era, just like the introduction to a new era and a new gameplay formula, there's always room for improvement if consistency is applied. The cycle ran its full course, and we had a new proven formula. All Sonic Team needed to do was take the elements that worked, trim the fat, maybe add working elements from previous formulas, and create something that they stick with for all future games. But of course, we all know that's not what happened.
Exactly. Friggin' Lost World.
In 2013, a partnership was formed between Sega and Nintendo, in which 3 Wii U exclusive titles will be made for Sonic the Hedgehog. One will be for the Mario and Sonic Olympic series. The second will be the video game pilot for the Sonic Boom cartoon, which didn't go well due to development problems.
Exactly.
And the next mainline 3D game in the series. Way back at the start, I said that Sonic Team had kind of a bad habit of taking the wrong lessons from both their successes and their failures. In my opinion, Sonic Lost World is where this became.
Look how friggin' cartoony and too child-friendly the badniks look in Lost World. Look how too cartoony they look.
In response to fan recommendations,
They really look like they're in a classic Sonic show for 3-year-olds.
Okay, but won't that go against the core of Sonic's design? Well, maybe we just have to wait and see what they've cooked up. You may notice in the spin-offs that Sonic Team really likes to practice experimentation. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with different interpretations of an existing franchise or story. Adaptations can be fantastic when done right. Just ask DreamWorks' forgotten masterpiece, Prince of Egypt. But I still think this approach to game development should be exclusive to the spin-off.
Oh, the Deadly Six. They do not. These are some of the worst villains in video game history. They do not work at all.
Not the mainline series. Now, the gameplay footage before release was already raising question marks. But when the game arrived and people got a closer look, we realized what they were actually doing. It was the Sonic Heroes fiasco all over again. But where that approach was just out of uncertainty, this changing game design was out of uncertainty and experimentation in the wrong place. By now, Sonic Team was perfectly comfortable with releasing their games for all competing consoles. But this particular mainline title had to be a Nintendo exclusive. You had to own a Wii U in order to play this one, or a 3DS handheld for a cheaper option. And again, Sonic the Hedgehog's legacy was still strong.
God, friggin' Lost World.
It looked like it was going to start climbing up again, given what we saw in the Boost games. But Sonic Team still didn't think Nintendo fans will like their new formula. And even if some people were indifferent, keeping what they had...
Do away the franchise identity to appeal to friggin' Nintendo fanboys.
Just like Sonic Colors did, which happened to be another Nintendo exclusive.
I mean, a lot of people from Nintendo and the Nintendo fanbase, they do like Sonic, but Sonic is not a Nintendo character. That's what everyone needs to remember. Like they did all of this to appeal to the Nintendo crowd, which I have no problem with, since a lot of the Nintendo crowd actually likes and respects Sonic. Heck, even some of the developers from Nintendo used to, heck, some of them actually used to work for Sonic, but they left for Nintendo. Heck, some of the Nintendo, like I'll probably say like 70 or 80% of the Nintendo crowd respects and likes Sonic. I mean, which I do appreciate, because I honestly thought that they were gonna hate. Sonic because before, I honestly thought Nintendo people hated Sonic because of the whole rivalry between Mario and Sonic. But over time, I started to realize that Nintendo people actually respected Sonic. It's just the Sonic fanbase that just continues to trash Nintendo and Mario. So yeah.
Who liked those games? But even if it did, where does that leave us?
I'm one of the Sonic fans. I'm a Sonic fan, but I actually like and respect Nintendo and their games and their fanbase. The same way how they respect us. It's just that the Sonic fanbase are freaking obnoxious.
Heck, even if there are fans,
just look how, like I said, look how too child friendly and too cartoony the Badniks look in Lost World compared to how they looked in Generations. Yeah.
Mario Galaxy and 3D Sonic, this still wouldn't work because the core design of Mario is completely different from that of Sonic's. In a way, they're supposed to be different. If you wanted to play Super Mario Galaxy, you play the game with that title, not this. Like I said, the problem with this approach is that even if you do change the gameplay formula to try and grab the attention of a different audience, they still won't buy the game because the title is still part of a series they're just indifferent to. And in the process, you'll alienate your existing audience, resulting in less of a profit. I'm not calling Lost World a blatant ripoff, don't misunderstand me. After all, the Galaxy games weren't the first to create levels with planetoid gravity gimmicks. Sonic had that in that space. Lost World is just a different interpretation of Mario Galaxy's concept. I know other fans who say it's trying to pay homage to the canceled Sonic Extreme, a prototype of the first ever 3D Sonic game on the Sega Saturn console before it got replaced with Adventure 1 for the Dreamcast. I understand why they would believe this, as I too used to think this, but whether it's a throwback or an imitation, it's still a needless change to what came before. All because they wanted to once again make a Sonic game for people who didn't like or buy Sonic games.
Exactly.
Sonic Lost World gives what was promised in the interview.
Exactly.
More flexible ground control, but in the form of a speed
just look how
cap.
cartoony.
You just move with the
You see how too like child friendly they look.
And even when you do, it's not even that fast. And there was still no momentum physics implemented. So I'll let you be the judge of that. The homing attack has also changed a little. If you're near multiple badniks when you jump, you can lock onto all of them at once, and with a push of the button, Sonic wipes them all out in a single blow. You can even perform a kick on badniks, which flings them away until they either hit a wall or another enemy. Didn't they automatically get kicked like that in Unleashed in Generations? But aside from the flying kick, if I were to ring in my opinion, I actually don't hate the homing attack here. I think it's a great new way to take out badniks as a power-up to Sonic's arsenal. Also, I hear that a similar ability will be available in Sonic Frontiers in the form of the spin cycle. We'll see how that goes, though.
Yeah.
One of the other highlights in this game is the introduction to something called the parkour system, where if you hold the run button and
Yeah, they need to bring that back in Frontiers.
Or jump to another wall. And while this idea can be cool in a spin-off, I'm not sure it would work in a main series, or at least not the way it's handled here. Mainly because of the levels where the parkour is mandatory to reach the goal. It really should have been optional all the way through. While some of these elements could be fleshed out when you think outside the box, everything else is just mundane for the most part. The level environments try to be traditional Sonic levels, but they don't really have elements that make them stick out from their previous incarnations, so they're just kind of generic. Windy Hill is ripped right from Green Hill and Emerald Hill, with a few windmills thrown in. Desert Ruins is just a generic desert level. Tropical Coast is just a beach level with rolling fruit and blenders. Silent Forest is just a jungle level. Sky Road is just a harder, windy hill with clouds in the background. And Lava Mountain, well, you kind of get the idea. Now, this was a blatant ripoff from the Super Mario Bros. Formula, as that usually had these type of level themes. So this comes across as either bland or downright nostalgia pandering. I do appreciate the tubular level designs of the first levels in each zone, though. I love how open and 3D it is. Funnily enough, these were the first 100% 3D Sonic levels we've had in the mainline Sonic game since 06. As for the other levels, the 2D sections are used again, but here I think they're even worse. Even in the Boost games, these sections still try to maintain a good flow, but in Lost World they're slower, more linear, and they create an unpleasant combination of frustrating and boring. And the Wisps are back, but they're not written into the plot at all. They're just here, and let's not even get into the cringy story. Now, for the people who approach this with an open mind, feel free to enjoy what clicked with you in Lost World. But for most of the fans who by this point were well accustomed to the Boost formula, either didn't think much of this game or thought it was just stupid. And as expected, Nintendo fans mostly just ignored it, leading to a lesser performance in sales, and critics calling the game out for presumably copying Super Mario Galaxy's blueprints. Just like Sonic Heroes, it repeats a business practice that does not make more money. With everything in context, this was yet another major step backwards, and at this point, we know why. I guess we'll have to wait and see if the Boost comes back or not. Whatever comes next, I hope they don't take too long.
Forces. Forces had so much. Forces had so much potential, but they just had to ruin it.
The next 4 years were tough for Sonic fans. Really tough. In 2014, the Sonic Boom spin-off game released, and it quickly became apparent that development hell had struck again. This was an awful first impression to a self-aware Cartoon Network show that was actually pretty funny. I guess the cartoon was still a plus. Good job to the writing team. In 2015, a mobile game called Sonic Runners was made and then discontinued, presumably due to poor reception and performance. Now, for Sonic's 25th anniversary, we got a party live stream that was kind of a mess. But the silver lining in that stream, we got a double announcement for the next 2 mainline Sonic games, both arriving in 2017. A year late, but no one really cared. We were just relieved we were getting stuff. One was 2D, while the other looked to be the next mainline 3D title. After so long, we were finally seeing the dream return twice. 2 proven formulas looked to be on the way. We even saw gameplay for the 2D one, and people were ecstatic over it. The 3D game reveal showed us a CG animated trailer with a new environment, mind you, not something reused. Gargantuan machines were wreaking havoc on a city, grinding it to dust and sending everything ablaze with a sunset backdrop. We had no idea where this was, but we all drew the same conclusion. Eggman was winning, and we needed our hero. And there he
Yeah,
is,
we were all hyped for how dark the game looked.
Rockets down, weaving his way through falling debris, but he screws up with a single jump. There's not enough time to get out of the way. Even for Sonic, this is too much. Now he needs help.
From freaking classic Sonic.
Again?
Exactly. Why is he back?
Gimmick from Generations? You know, like the Werehog from Unleashed? Is this a sequel with new levels? Actually, no. Because that would go against what Takashi Iizuka said before they showed the trailer. Meaning that this is a standalone game. Most likely because they're not too keen on making sequels right now. Or at least labeling them as sequels. But I digress. Almost immediately after the trailer hit YouTube, the fans were once again divided, unsure of what this meant. How are they going to write classic Sonic into the story? How did Eggman take control? Or has he? What's going on? We wanted to know. Maybe
Why
that's
is
part of the
why
problem.
is Classic Sonic?
The trailer was a mystery, and we wanted to see more. And what did the trailer mean when it said "join the resistance" at the end? A resistance? Like the freedom fighters from the Saturday morning cartoon? Is it referring to us? Are we joining this resistance? Actually, yes. For the first time in the series, we were going to create our own characters and fight a war against Dr. Eggman and his army. This was such a brilliant marketing move. Sonic Team knew how many people enjoyed making their own original characters for the series, and now they were going to put it in their next game with customization features, tons of accessories, and even weapons powered by wisps called Wispins. But this time, it actually made sense to include the wisps again, as they were integral to the gameplay. And these were the only 3 gameplay styles: 2 Sonics, and the random avatar with a grappling hook and a weapon of choice. Now, I'm all for at least 3 gameplay styles, but I kind of hoped for Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles in 3D again. Why are we getting Sonic, his younger self, and a blank slate with the Wisp rifle? It looked like Sonic Team were on the right track when they included Shadow the Hedgehog as DLC, but his levels were just 3 rehashed stage variations of what we got before. And then there was the Supersonic DLC, which Sega stupidly tried charging the fans.
Exactly, I remember that.
So this caused justified outrage. Thankfully, the backlash made them change their minds and make it free. A glaring problem Forces had, besides the level design, was the spectacle, transitions, and automation. And the 2D sections were even more bland than ever before. Why did the levels amount to just a straight line? I want to play the game.
Exactly, like that's one of the issues with the boost formula in Forces and Colors, is that when you boost, it's automated. You just run in a straight line. You don't at least turn a little bit. You don't at least turn, and when you do, it's not like it's not like Generations where it's like more like this when you like turn. Instead, in Forces, it's more like basically like that. It's more of you. Let's just say you're running, and then we boost and you turn. It's like that. It's like stiff. It's like stiff. And on top of that, the stiff animations. The animations in Forces was just horrible. It was horrible. Shh.
Not watching. Let me control it.
Exactly. You control. That's the point of a controller. You control the character. Frontiers better have less 2D gameplay. We better control the character more than how we did in Forces. So yeah.
This isn't supposed to be an interactive visual novel. It's a 3D Sonic game. Even with the boost formula, you can't automate it this much.
I swear to God, if we get an automated boost formula, automated boost formula in 2D again. If we get automated boost formula in 2D, if we get automated boost formula in 2D sections again in Frontiers, I am gonna flip out. If we get that again.
You're taking the control away from the player. Unlike a lot of the fans who have really grown in the past 4 years, I was trying my best to be optimistic waiting for this game. I wanted to wait patiently and see what Sonic Team had to offer. But the more info and footage we got, the more confused I was. Why are they reusing Green Hill and Chemical Plant again? They don't even look that interesting anymore. Putting in sand and snow isn't going to change the fact that they're still recycling levels, something they still thought we loved in Generations. Actually, we enjoyed those levels because of their solid level design and how they added new ideas. Sonic Mania, which released in August that same year, does the same thing but with Genesis gameplay and 4 new stages. This nostalgia pandering is another thing Sonic Team seems to be struggling with. We don't need, and quite frankly, don't prefer at this point, to see reused levels. They can still be traditional Sonic levels, but they need to have new in-game elements that make these levels feel less like carbon copies and more like standout environments. Sonic Forces doesn't do this. You end up playing through Green Hill, Chemical Plant, and even the Death Egg as all 3 characters. This did happen with Adventure 1 with levels like Speed Highway, but Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles all have their own abilities and objectives, so the stages feel different, and the levels in those games were still new at the time. In Sonic Forces, it's more redundant, because we've already seen these levels before, and the 3 playable characters don't actually play that differently from one another. Sure, the level design is different, but it's still automated and way too linear. Stage recycling has become a cliche in the series, to a point where people are now making fun of it online or just getting angry when we learn of it. This approach to level aesthetic is boring and tired, but Sonic Forces overall doesn't just feel boring, it feels rushed. Despite 4 years of time to get this right, you can see it in the controls too. It feels unfinished. The running acceleration isn't smooth at all, you lose your momentum after a single jump. Steering control is more stiff than ever, and for classic Sonic, even his attempted physics feels automated. Maybe the unfinished control is the reason they automated everything. Maybe they didn't want the game to look buggy, even though we were inevitably going to find out those detractors anyway. The story is technically better than Lost World, but that's not really saying much. It looks like it wants to show off an engaging battle between Sonic and Eggman's new partner in crime, Infinite, but it just didn't have the time to make it work. Don't even get me started on Infinite's lame backstory. The premise of Dr. Eggman conquering 99.9% of the world could have been fantastic, but he's not given enough screen time to feel intimidating. And not only is the Phantom Ruby's power unclear, but classic Sonic is just as much of an afterthought as the Wisps. Actually, the Wisps are completely ignored. They're just a game mechanic and nothing else. And the main trio still feels out of character. Sonic is still cracking jokes, Tails is still a coward, and now Knuckles is a war general leader of the Resistance. The Sonic Forces 4-part prequel comics, written by none other than Ian Flynn, explains things better, but that's not a good thing how I have to refer to the comics to better understand the game's story. For the other two, you may also notice that the facial expressions are seriously lacking. At most, characters just move their eyelids every couple seconds, and that's it. That might have been rushed too. If Sonic Team is looking for a reference to better facial movement, I suggest taking notes from Sonic's cameo in Wreck-It Ralph 2. I know it's a CG movie, but I still think you can get some good insight and ideas on the rigging for cleaner in-game models. His voice is also on point in this movie.
That was great! We're like a well-oiled machine. Fighting a well-oiled machine. It's actually pronounced Wi-Fi, Ralph.
Yeah, that's what I said.
See,
And Wi-Fi is the internet.
I think this is exactly how Roger Craig Smith should sound when he's voicing his character. Not like what they're doing here. Now I could go on and on about the other flaws, like the total lack
you know how embarrassing it is that Sonic's cameo in Wreck-It Ralph is a lot better than how he is in the modern games. That's embarrassing, Sega. I'm happy that Ponchop is fired. I'm happy that Ian Flynn is writing the friggin' games again.
Or the same animation poses in the homing attack, or the abundance of synths in the soundtrack that make it boring to listen to, or the abysmal, spammy boss fights. But there are a few good ideas too. For example, vocal themes and stages. People have wanted that since Adventure 2, particularly in City Escape. And if vocal themes come back in future games with better lyrics, I'm okay with it. The customization for the avatar is oozing with variety. This is probably the only real fleshed out part of the game. So many different clothing options and accessories. I wouldn't be surprised if this functionality carried over to a future spin-off. Maybe they'll add character model adjustments too. Despite reusing a lot of old stages, the Hedgehog Engine 2 makes a lot of these environments look gorgeous, especially when they provide new environments, which this game does. The lighting is great most of the time, and texture detail is really good. I look forward to seeing them reusing this engine and ironing out all the bugs. And even though the facial expressions are minimal and the idle animations absent, the lip syncing and cutscene animations are pretty good, but the flaws of the game are still impossible to overlook. Sonic Forces turns out to be the two things a video game should never ever be: boring and not fun. This game is not fun to control and way too easy. The whole point of any video game is to provide fun gameplay and a challenge to overcome. Sonic always specializes in this by encouraging replayability, to learn the flow of a game or find the golden path of every stage, or both. Somehow, Sonic Forces doesn't feel like it's trying to do any of that. It's trying to play itself for you because it knows it's incomplete. Beneath all that, I have to ask, what was this game trying to do? The structure of the game is still odd to me. Two versions of Sonic in an avatar. Were they going to put a third version of Sonic in there instead of the avatar? Did they change
Were we gonna get Sonic No Way Home before Spider-Man No Way Home? I mean, Sonic Prime is happening, so we possibly could still get it. Yeah.
Mind when Rise of Lyric flopped? Well, I think another part of the problem goes a little further back. I believe they wanted to work on Forces immediately after Generations, but the Nintendo contract got in the way, so they saved Forces blueprint for after Lost World. Then they started work on the Hedgehog Engine 2, but I think because of a staff shortage or the drastic change in perspective after Lost World, development took a lot longer than they'd hoped. 3 years, in fact. So they only had 1 year to begin construction on Forces itself. It didn't help that there were only 3 inexperienced level designers working with it. Another problem was just how much time had passed after Lost World. We were desperate for more 3D Sonic and wanted to see something that would blow us away. Our expectations only got higher with each passing year because we thought they were working as hard as possible. We thought they were going to come back with a bang, and it looked like that was the idea given the first trailer. But that was all just cover-up. Clearly something went wrong. Just like in 2006, Sonic Forces went through development hell, but in the reverse effect. But I don't think it was meant to be a return to form after 4 years. Realistically, I don't think it could. It tried so hard to appeal to every fan at once that in the end, no one would be completely satisfied. So making this a return to form wouldn't make any sense at all. I didn't see this at first. I was so angry back then at how little Sonic Team seemed to care. I mean, 4 years and this was all they had to show for it? What the hell were they thinking? Why did they lie to us? But I've gotten over that. I think now I know how to really approach this. Sonic Team did care. They just lost their touch, as well as losing a good chunk of their team. They didn't want Forces to be incomplete, but that's sadly how it went. When I look at everything Sonic Forces tries to do, from the concept art to the interviews to all the other clues, I can think of only one believable option. In my opinion, Sonic Forces, a late anniversary game, was meant to be a grand finale, a send-off to every previous era that the series had been through, a way of saying thank you for supporting us for 25 years before moving on to something new and better. And if that's what Sonic Team was trying to get across, I commend them for taking this approach, even if it didn't work out here. In context, Sonic Forces is one of the biggest failures in the series' history, but we can still see this game as something to learn from. As Sonic Team
One of the biggest disappointments of all time,
effort, time, and talent.
in my
From
opinion.
here, the only thing Sonic Team can do is again learn, live out this dream progressively rather than retroactively. And now all we can do is wait for the conclusion of the second cycle, the new formula. So if Sonic Team is going to give us something new, I think we can only assume that they'll take a look at what worked in a 2D game that released between Lost World and Forces and put that to 3D. And this is where things get interesting. Sonic Mania wasn't just an official Sonic game. It was an absolute love letter made by a ragtag group of professional fans who understood what made the Genesis era
Oh,
click
Sonic
in the
Mania.
90s. Christian Whitehead, Ed Cannon,
Sonic
and Joe
Mania,
Gillespie
a freaking
upgraded ports and
masterpiece.
before receiving an offer. A task for Sega to work on another anniversary game just in case something happened with Forces. You know you've done something right when it's specifically written that Sega proudly presents your game. But why do we love Sonic Mania so much? Not because of the old stages, even though they are well designed. Not because of all the clever throwbacks, even though they are ingenious. Not because it features classic Sonic, since there's only one Sonic in this game. But because it revives the best 2D gameplay formula from Sonic 3 and upgrades it with modern sprite technology and level design. This right here is how to take Sonic the Hedgehog back to his roots and introduce him to a new generation. By taking a play style that worked, ironing out the bugs, and showing the gaming industry in the modern age what made this character so lovable, so charming, and so cool. This is how to make a new Sonic game with an established formula. Now the drawback does come from recycled levels, but again, the developers of this game use that to their advantage. They reworked the level design to encourage exploration without any momentum stopping obstacles or enemies. Some parts are copied and pasted, but the levels still overall feel new. Jared Castle did a great job. These guys knew what made the Genesis games work and delivered the best experience they possibly could in the time they had. Then they added on to that by bringing back 2 long-lost characters, Mighty and Ray, who still control the same way everyone else does, but with their own different abilities. That's exactly how it should work, 2D or 3D. Sonic Mania's core design is the 2D formula. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles.
This is what I mean when I say they need to bring back multiple playable characters. So yeah.
And the use of the characters' different powers, and an interesting show-don't-tell story to boot. Not better than Sonic 3 and Knuckles' story, but you get my point. This game didn't just sell well. It wasn't just met with critical acclaim. It didn't just resonate with the fans. It made new fans. It even brought back old fans who left the franchise years ago. This is exactly
There you go. That's how you do it. And we thought that everyone thought that Forces was gonna be good because of Mania.
The result isn't just successful, it's profitable. With this new fresh blood in Sega's veins and a new simplistic technology, then modern 3D game, Sonic Mania was destined to become a success. Even if it didn't have any new levels, people still would have loved it just for the game design. From the music to the animated intro to the simple but effective presentation to the action-packed trailers that got everybody more and more excited before release, Sonic Mania made the mark it needed to not only become one of the best games of 2017,
one of the best games in this entire franchise.
So if Sonic Team is going to take the right lessons from Mania's success and convert it to 3D, we could end up with a modernized 2D to 3D formula. The same formula from Sonic Adventure 1. And honestly, the timing couldn't be better. Sonic Adventure itself is over 20 years old, and Adventure 2 is exactly 20 years old. So if Sonic Team wants to bring back adventure elements in a more 3D open world, or open zone, space, and frontiers, now's their chance. For over a year, we've been hearing leaks and rumors about Sonic Frontiers having adventure gameplay elements for an open world.
And I do hope that happens.
Momentum physics like the adventure games, and the classics like Sonic Mania. It's true, the boost formula will still be continued in this game, but that's only being
sadly.
Space levels, which are only for obtaining the Chaos Emeralds. The fact that Sonic Team has basically sidelined the boost gameplay is a great idea in my opinion.
There you go.
Nothing wrong with the boost gameplay. It just mattered how you design your levels. In order to use
the boost gameplay can be fun, but as long as you don't like overdo it, like to the point where it just you just don't want to see it for a while. So the boost gameplay can still be around, and I do think Sonic should have boost, and also I do think the boost formula is still gonna be here, but like not like all the time, like in basically the Meta era games. So
formula well, the level design has to be on par with Generations and Unleashed.
Exactly, which is what I've been hearing.
So that demands a lot of resources, which is why I'm glad to hear it's a side thing now, according to the rumors. It was honestly never meant to be the main entree.
Thank you.
Boost games themselves always depended on filler. So to recap, here's what a Sonic game should have. 1. A trio of playable characters, each one with the same physics and ground control, but with their
basically kind of like Heroes, but except do it a little better than Heroes.
own abilities. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are the most recommended trio for the mainline series. 2. New environments and fully 3D levels.
No more rehash stages. No more Green Hills or Chemical Plant or Sky Sanctuary or Death Egg Zone. I mean, the Death Egg robot can still be here, but not the Death Egg Zone, not the Death Egg ship. No more of that.
Slopes, hills, and platforms that feel straightforward, expansive, and encourages replayability.
Basically, no more trying to do no more callbacks. No more trying to repeat the past. All of that. No more trying to make callbacks. It's time to move forward.
To find different ways to the goal, with good boss fights that feel appropriate to the level themes, and maybe some unlockable bonus stages. 3. A fun story that represents the identities of the characters. 4. Good music, presentation, and production value.
Wait. I need to go back.
Bonus stages. 3. A fun story that represents the identities of the characters.
Exactly. Ian Flynn is good at that. And for what we've heard about the plot, what the leaks have said about Frontiers, it looks like, and the trailer alone, it looks like we might return to the Dark Age games.
4. Good music, presentation, and production value.
I mean, Sonic is always good at that. Even the Meta era has done this well.
And at the very least,
a CG intro, just exactly like Sonic Unleashed. Have the CG intro be exactly like Sonic Unleashed. Have it start off as an action scene, which shows us how awesome the characters are.
I made an intro. That's it. Everything else is up to Sonic Team, but it has to be fun and challenging. The most important elements of any video game, and not ridiculously hard though. If they can do that while acknowledging the bullet points above, they'll finally have the chance to bring Sonic's legacy back up to the same level as Mario, which incidentally has kept a consistent control scheme throughout those 3D games. Follow these steps, Sonic Team. and you'll do fantastic. Sonic the Hedgehog is not dead. He doesn't need to die.
Yeah, he would never die as well. So to everyone that's saying that, oh, Sonic is dead, they need to bring... Guys, shut up. Sonic has never died. He never will die. It's just that Sega is taking forever to make Sonic games now, compared to the past. So, yeah.
And he wasn't never good. Sonic is just going...
Yeah, Sonic is just going through a lot right now, so... Sonic was never a good franchise. If you disagree, you can call the cops. What you can do, my boy, is hold this fucking L for what you just said. You too! Sonic fans like to have sex with Big the Cat. You can hold this L. You can go fuck yourself. You can go shh.
Going through an identity crisis and needs help. He needs fresh new people working with him, along with dedicated veterans.
Yeah. Paramount. I know this has nothing. I know the Sonic movie has nothing to do with this video, but I'm hitting my arm to pretend like I'm clapping because I'm holding the camera. So yeah. So congratulations. I'm not gonna snaps to Paramount. That's what I'm gonna do whenever I'm holding the camera. Snaps to Paramount. Because they know how to treat characters with respect. They brought the character back. Lots of audience love Sonic again because of the movie. Lots of people that used to not like Sonic anymore love Sonic again because of the movie. So yeah.
And enough time to create something truly worthwhile. Something that recognizes...
The video is almost my video is almost 2 hours long, in case you guys don't know.
But I hope if Sonic Team somehow finds this video, they can still understand that no matter how divided we all share a common dream. To see good Sonic games. To see this character shine like he did in the 90s and early 2000s. And if Sonic Team can break this cycle and hold on to something that works for all future games, they'll find themselves...
Hold on, it's time to put an end to this pattern and become a consistent franchise. I agree. In fact, a lot of us fans agree. They need to stop using the same same formula of a CG trailer, then wait like a couple of months later for a gameplay trailer, and then the game comes out. Then a couple of more trailers, and then the game comes out and it's not even that good. So I think it's time that they need to stop that. They need to stop that.
Back where they should be. A respected and focused development crew that will keep on running for us. We want to see ambitious content that doesn't need to show off new gaming hardware, but instead feel like it's trying to accomplish its goal of being a fun addition to the mainline series of a franchise that we refuse to abandon, no matter how bleak the circumstances may be. With the success of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie and the sequel Sonic the Hedgehog 2 coming in a few weeks, we also want to see him succeed in the area which he started as, a gaming series. Because that's the aspect.
So that way a lot of people could stop referring... Sonic is a multimedia franchise, but at the same time, Sonic started as a gaming franchise. I do agree that Sonic... The multimedia side of Sonic is succeeding, which is what people are saying. I've seen some people say that Sonic works better in movies and cartoons than he does in games. And I can see why people are saying that, but I don't agree. I do not agree with that. I can see it, but I do not agree.
Of Sonic that could die. Whatever happens to Sonic from here on out, I hope to see this legacy through to the very end. I said before that Sonic the Hedgehog as a character is the embodiment of Sega itself. He's cocky, cool, eager to impress, and sure-footed. He loves to make the first move, but he doesn't always think before he acts. And if he takes a hit, he immediately gets back to his feet and keeps moving against all odds. In the real world, he never gives into the negativity around him, and he'll keep on running for the people who support him. If he gets knocked back to the starting line, there's nowhere left for him to go but forward. And I hope everything I've said here can
basically move forward.
When the starting pistol is fired.
And do it fast too.
So we're doing everything we can to cheer him on, encouraging him to keep taking those running steps. For us, he doesn't need to get first place. He just needs to run all the way through. This character puts Sega at the top of the industry for a reason. Even if it was short-lived, the The source of that success has lasted for 3 decades, and we'll never stop showing our support for the fastest.
Now about to be 4 decades soon.
Sega and Sonic Team, we know it's been a rough 16 years, but we're still here hoping you succeed, and have been passionate about it amidst all the backlash and criticism you've received. No matter what anyone thinks, the legacy may be gone to the public for now, but we can still see it. We still remember Sonic for who he is and what he means to us, and we hope that you remember as well. So do the best you can to make Sonic Frontiers a great game, because your skills will be rewarded.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a whole video for what I need, for what Sonic Frontiers needs in order to be a success. Probably right after I'm done making a review about Sonic Movie 2. Oh, I still remember that trailer, that Sonic Central trailer.
It's finally time to go back to what people remember modern Sonic for most. What is that other than the adventure games? I think it doesn't hurt. Give it a shot, Sonic Team.
Okay, that was an awesome video. Shout out to Gamerguyd. Now, here's my response. Sega, hire, good, right. I mean, influence writing the game, so that's a plus there. Have the gameplay be good. Have the game have a much more serious tone, but yet still have comedic moments, because that's what the Sonic franchise is. I'm not saying make the Sonic I'm not saying make the Sonic franchise a complete depressing, dark, and dull franchise. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it needs to be Man of Steel or Batman vs Superman. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, take this stuff a bit more. When it comes to like big moments, take it a bit more serious. Like, when it comes to comedic scenes, have the comedic, make the jokes, like, do the jokes, but keep it there. But keep it a serious tone. Keep a serious tone. Have there be lots of high stakes there, and also do not butcher the characters. Return the characters back to what made them so special. Return Tails to being a competent hero for what we all loved about him in the adventure games. Return Knuckles to being a much more gullible hero who cares about the Master Emerald, who can beat people up whenever he wants to, and make Amy a bit more independent. Yeah, stop having her chase after Sonic for once. Yeah. Yeah, and Sonic, have him be a cocky dude with an attitude, with a great attitude, but a great attitude. While ready to get the job done, not have him crack jokes, not have him make corny jokes. No more cringy Wisp or Deadly Six, all that stuff. None of that no more. Have it be a serious tone, and have Eggman be menacing again. Have him be a much more serious villain again. I really miss. I mean, yes, you can have him be goofy, but have him be serious as well. Have him be more serious while goofy at the same time. Yes, have him be goofy, but more so serious, more so threatening and serious. That's how I would do Eggman. Yeah. And as well, and the other characters, I'm just gonna say this right now: do not shove them in the plot. Have them be important to the plot. And I'm happy that the Chaos Emeralds are returning in this game, as long as they are important to the plot, though. Do not shove them down. Do not shove them in there for the sake of fan service. Have them be important to the plot. If the plot of Frontiers involves Chaos Emeralds, then maybe maybe Super Sonic is gonna return. So yeah. I'm just hoping I'm really hoping that Frontiers does not disappoint us and bum us like Forces did. I'm really hoping that Frontiers is the best Sonic game ever since Sonic Adventure. Not ever since, because a lot of people are saying that ever since Sonic Generations. No, have it be even more than that. Have it be the best Sonic game ever since Unleashed, or even yet, have it be the best Sonic game ever since Sonic Adventure. Have it be that, especially since this is an open world game. Have the stakes be, have the risk be higher. Have the risk be a lot higher. Let this be the best Sonic game ever since Adventure, which I don't think it's gonna happen anyway. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna be better than Adventure, but still, have it. If the game is as the best Sonic game ever since, have it. Let's say, I want everyone to say have it be the best Sonic game ever since Sonic Adventure. So yeah. Thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know what you thought about this video down below. Like and subscribe, hit that bell, hit those notifications down below. Comment down below, let me know what you thought about this video. Subscribe to my other channels, link in the description. Stay tuned for my Sonic Frontiers, what it needs to do in order to succeed video, because that needs to happen. So yeah, that's all I gotta say right now. So Sega, if you're watching this, we care about your franchise, man. We really care about your franchise. We really care about your franchise. So yeah, expect a video after Sonic Movie 2 about what Sonic Frontiers needs in order to succeed. And it will be a huge passion video from a fan, an actual fan. Anyway, guys, that's all I gotta say right now. So, peace, Sonic Squad. I'm out.